Everybody, we're back on the side yard today with a taillight housing project. So I had to prepare these, which included grinding off the original studs, which are here, and they were mounted, inside the housing, and they were basically like riveted on there. But 3 out of 4 of mine already were ground off, and they had some bolts and nuts connecting them, and the last one was kind of roached, so I went ahead and ground it off. Now, what I just noticed and why I'm making this video is that if you look at the wiring, there's only one wire. There's a power wire that goes to each one of your bulbs via the insert. Now, one of them does have 2 wires, but that's for brake light turn signal combination. So what I believe, and I'm pretty sure this is the case, is that your ground, because there's a ground wire from the frame, but it connects to the studs, which means that your ground for your bulb is passing through this entire housing. So what I need to do is make sure that these bolts are conducting electricity from the housing, because this is where the ground wire is going to be attached, and it has to get up to here, right? So at first I had some washers I was going to use, but that would insulate it. I don't want it insulated. So what I'm doing, I just ground these down to metal, right, all around here. Now, because these I believe are zinc plated, right, these are zinc plated, I am going to dump these in muriatic acid. No, that is not my urine. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you put these in muriatic acid, anything with zinc plating, it will, try not to get it on me. This is just from the swimming pool supplies, by the way. It will take that plating off in like a minute. Put everything in there. And then what you're gonna end up with is conductive bolts, conductive hardware. This stuff will burn you. Just be careful. Don't do what I'm doing. Do what I say, not what I do. So I'm gonna let that stop bubbling. It doesn't take long. And then make sure you rinse it really well. And I would throw some baking soda on there as well and neutralize the acid completely. And then rinse it, spray it down with some WD-40. And then you should be good to go. But I'm gonna make sure I clean WD-40 off before I put them on the car. And what I'll do is I'll make sure they're totally clean, mount these on the car, and then I'll just put a little dab of dielectric grease on top of these and on the back so they don't corrode over time. All right, so let's see, what do we got? Yeah, so that needs a couple more minutes. Doesn't take long. All right, we'll be back. And there we have it. How to take some nice new nuts and bolts and make them look like old ass, about to be rusty nuts and bolts. But these are now highly conductive, and they'll be fine. Just sprayed them with a little WD-40. I also dried them with a heat gun, so they're hot. So these are some hot nuts. Well, all right. Before I put these on the car, I'm going to go address some of the wiring and the terminals over there and just hit them with a little bit of sandpaper. Okay, real quick, I just want to show you guys that I went through and I sandpapered all the connections, all the wires, all the leads, and I got everything ready, including all these grounds. I ground them down. And I'm just gonna hook up the taillight housings now, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna start with the 2 outside ones, the ones that also have the fiber optic. Oh, and I also I sanded the surface of the fiber optics a little bit. Like, these are actually red, and I took them to 1000 grit, which I think should be fine. By the way, So when you're connecting this stuff and you've got like a boot, right, something like that, that's when you want to use dielectric grease, and you're just going to use it around where the boot is. Do not stuff your electrical connections with dielectric grease. That is not how you're supposed to use it. You use it to make putting together connectors and boots and things easier, and to seal it off and, you know, protect it from dirt and moisture and stuff. But if you're going to use dielectric grease, just use a tiny bit. You don't have to douse it all over everything. And definitely don't get it in between your connections. You can put it on top of your connection, like on a battery terminal, once it's connected. But don't slather it all over everything. Here's what I'm doing. Fiber optic is in there. And then that's where you put the dielectric grease, just around the boot area. So that's going to go in. And obviously you can see, you know, this cutout, it only goes in one way. So it'll go like that. All right, guys, I have a little revelation, and we're going to do some education, and I need to do some renovation on the back of this C3. Now, a couple things. One is that this broke, so I ordered a new connector that is that piece, basically, that you hook into the light, into the backup light, and that's 30 bucks right there, just for the wire and the connector. But whatever, nobody makes them. So that's money. The main thing, though, is I want you guys to look at the difference between this. Look at this position right here of that hole. And you notice there's two holes there, and there's a reason for that. But look at the position of that hole. And then that's the outside light. That's your turn signal with the fiber optic. And then look at this one, which is the non-fiber optic, and look at the position here. See that? So the difference is, this is the difference. So on the outside of the car, the outer ones that have the fiber optic, the bolt holes are in a different position, or I should say the studs, which I am replacing, of course. So you look at this one, they put two holes in here. This one should have a hole higher up here, but it doesn't. They had mounted both of the fiber optic connectors over here, and then on this side, when I say they, I mean the prior owner, this side is correct for the bolt hole position, right? But here it's not. And here is the fiber optic one. This one goes here on the outside, but when you put this in and line it up, you line this up here, guess what? Yeah, no hole. So today I just have to drill a hole here, and then these are both, oh, and then I have to drill a hole here. So one inner, one outer. I'm going to do that. And, you know, if I had noticed more when I first got the car, and I knew more and I was more knowledgeable, you know, I probably would have looked at these and said, oh, you know, these are wrong. Now, the reason they're wrong is because this is a replacement rear end. For some reason, I don't know why. The car doesn't appear to have been in an accident, but for whatever reason, this is a replacement rear end. I hope it doesn't give me any more trouble than this. That would be great if it was just a matter of drilling holes. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to drill the hole here and the hole here, and see if we can get these things mounted up. And then I might just go ahead and mount my refurbished license plate light. We'll see. We'll do one thing at a time. All right. Looking pretty clean. Okay, just real quick, just a drill, get a hole, and then I use the step drill. And then I kind of went in from the back just to clean up the edge on the inside. All right, one more. Okay, we're done. Got a hole there and a hole here, and I just Q-tipped a little clear in there just to seal the fiberglass up, you know. Probably overkill, but never hurts. All right, next, lights going in. Light mounts going in. I got the wires, the fiber optic in the taillight bulb. Well, not the license plate illumination bulb. But I was about to hook up the ground. I was cleaning this, and no bueno, amigos. So I'm gonna replace that and get on with it. All right, the best way I know to replace these is just to, you wanna get your stuff lined up, and then you just, well, you just, like that. And then you get your shrink wrap, put a little dielectric grease right on the end there, right there. Keep the moisture out. Okay, let's go. Okay, so just on the inside, the last step for me is hooking up these grounding wires, and this one, I still need to check it and clean it. Take this off and I'll clean it up. But this grounds all of your taillights, so you've got to make sure this is all really clean. So I stripped all this hardware. I stripped of the finish, and I just sandwiched it in there between a couple washers. You can see right there, 2 washers, a lock washer, and now I will spread a little bit of dielectric grease on that, and then that goes for every one of these. There's one here. There's one that's already hooked up for the license plate light, and then there's 2 more over here. So that is the same ground for all these. So make sure all that stuff's clean and you get it nice and grounded. All right, and that is pretty much it. So that wraps up this video. I'm just waiting. I'm still waiting on the wire for this one, but all these are hooked up and they're in the right spot. So no more brake lights on, or backup lights on one side and brake lights on the other side. So thanks for watching, you guys. Hope this has been helpful. See you later.